Good morning, everybody. Wisconsin 25th District Senator Janet Bewley is my very special guest today, Thursday, October 29. We're still in 2020. Reminder, tomorrow morning I'll be chatting with the Republican candidate in Wisconsin's 10th Senate District, Representative Rob Staffschold. And that will be our final candidate in our Friday Meet the Candidate series. You can watch all of those on our website, Facebook page, and YouTube channel. But today, I'm very excited to be joined once again by Senator Janet Bewley. I'm trying to work this. There you are. Hey, good morning, Miss Janet. How are you?
Morning. I'm great. And we sound great. We look great. Good.
Very
Cooking with
positive. I like
gas.
that. You should be a guest on our Positive Tuesday shows with Ben and Fitz. You'd be great for that. So
Positive Tuesday.
last time
Okay.
you were on, that was, oh man, I think boy, what was that? I think it was right after you were just, I don't know if it's like appointed or selected or what the
Yeah.
word would be to be the Senate minority leader, right?
Right.
How's that
Right.
going?
Well, I hit the ground running. It's pretty busy. The minority leader, of course, when we're in session, sort of is the caucus wrangler. We make sure we understand what's going on with all of the members of the caucus, what issues are important, what they're going to want to do on the floor. But when we're not in session and we're having elections, I kind of wrangle the elections. And so now when all of the even numbered Senate districts are running for reelection or they're new candidates, I have to kind of watch over the 14, excuse me, no, the 7 senators that are, it's the 7 races that are within the Democratic caucus. So it's pretty busy. And then, just like everybody else, we have to do things differently because we're in the time of COVID, and that makes everything different. And we have to worry about COVID, so you put that on top of it, and it's stressful for everybody.
Yeah.
And we're all doing it in a new way. But it's a matter of learning how to, as you do your own things, and you try to make sure you do them in a way that's going to help out your neighbor. So onward we go. In the elections, 6 days,
Oh my goodness.
six
Well,
days.
not for nothing, but I saw. Uh oh. Well, there we go. President Trump says that it's we turned the corner and it's going back down. COVID.
Mhm.
Saw that yesterday
Yeah.
when he was in Arizona doing a thing. Because I always have like CBSN live on like all day. It's just on just in case
Mhm.
something happens. And I saw that. I'm like, all right, I don't get that part. Like, I get you could make a compelling argument or an argument about masks, this and they don't work, and I don't care, and my right,
Yeah.
that all that stuff. You right or wrong, good or bad, you could make an argument for it.
Mhm.
But saying that we've turned the corner and it's like, yeah, yes, it's finally going down. It's literally not.
Mhm.
It's like saying right
No,
now,
it's
Janet,
it's
the day is wrapping up and we're almost at the end of the day. No, it's 8:41 in the morning. It's just not
mhm.
factual.
I know.
It's so
And
bizarre.
that yeah, that's hard. You can, again, as you said, you can have your own uh attitude about how we got here, about what's the best way to handle your own family and direct what they do. But the truth of the matter is that the virus is spreading, and it's getting worse. We're heading towards another peak.
Mm.
And just in the way a virus behaves, we know that flu always gets worse in the winter. People are in closer proximity. The virus seems to thrive. It's something that we have to both acknowledge and say out loud that yes, it's getting worse, so that people can faithfully understand that it is getting worse, and then come together and do something about it.
Mm.
Because people aren't going to change their behaviors if they're getting mixed signals about how severe this problem is.
Yeah,
And it's bad.
it is. Hey, we have a question here, and I literally have nothing written down for our chat today. So we're just going to talk about whatever. But would you mind if we have a few
Oh, no, that'd
intelligent
be
questions
great.
to put something up? And
Sure.
I don't know
I
because
like that.
we're doing a different program here, or our system has changed a little bit. So bear with us if we get some screens wrong, and because like I think I can put you just a C on that.
Okay.
Marcel, add guest to the. Yeah, so I'm learning about all this stuff. So I think you're now able to see this. Does that pop up on your screen?
Yeah, Mark Popsicala, your thoughts on abortion and your vision for northern Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, first of all, about abortion. I think that abortion is an extremely difficult, painful subject. Um, I think that it is a subject that is most appropriately left to the individual people who must make the decision about whether or not a pregnancy is able to continue. We want to have as few abortions as possible. That's why I am so in favor of getting reproductive health care to women as easily and as affordably as possible.
Mm.
But the ultimate decision isn't mine. It isn't my decision. It's the decision of the woman who has to make that. And it is not the place for government either. When it comes to how people in the North are doing, was that the question, Ben? How people?
Hold on a second. I can bring it back up here.
How are we?
Your thoughts on abortion? Oh, and your
Oh, my
vision for
vision.
northern
Oh,
Wisconsin.
oh. Well, my vision for northern Wisconsin is to have it be a place where people believe that they can thrive, where we have the necessary infrastructure in place for families and businesses to thrive, and that we are able to welcome new people and new businesses and new investments in our economies throughout the North,
Mm.
that we are strong because we're diverse. We don't depend on just one industry. We depend upon many, and I want to strengthen them all. Again, but I think most importantly, we need the investments in our infrastructure, our roads, our broadband, our schools, the things that people count on to provide the best quality of life.
Yeah.
If those are thriving, then families can thrive.
And actually, ooh, oh, I don't know if anyone else can hear that. I think I'm hearing myself back in it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll keep it short then if I'm getting reverb. I did print out this morning just so I remembered. Oh, shoot. And I forgot to put down the polling stuff. But you, obviously, as a senator in Wisconsin, that means you have 3 assembly districts, the 73rd,
Right.
74th, 75th. And I think didn't you serve in the 74th for a while?
I did. I
Okay.
did. I was there for 2 terms.
Yeah, and now Beth Myers is there, and that's something I wasn't until just this morning when I'm like, who is the 74th? I can't remember. It was Beth Myers. I'm like, man, I don't know why I just keep forgetting about the 74th. Like we follow a lot of other things and a lot of other
hmm
races, and for some reason, and that represents Sawyer County, most of it, doesn't it? Or no?
Actually, not.
Oh,
The 74th has 2 towns in the northern part of Sawyer County,
uh,
Lenroot and Spider Lake. And then the rest of Sawyer County is in uh,
oh, that would
James
Edming.
Edmings district.
Yes.
That's Edmings district.
Oh man, see, I forget about that one too. But
Yeah.
so right now, obviously, you're not in an election cycle right now. You're in
No.
second year, so you're not 2 more years until you're going to be on the ballot if you're going to run.
Right.
Hey, you're going to run.
Yeah.
You have plans
Oh,
on that?
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Uh, so right now, 73rd. So currently, you have Representative Nick Milroy in the 73rd, in the 74th,
hmm
Beth
hmm
Myers, and the 75th
hmm
is Romaine Quinn. Well, Romaine announced that
Right.
he's not going to be seeking re-election, and there's 2 candidates there. John Ellenson is the Democrat, and Dave Armstrong is the Republican. And
hmm
I don't know how this really bears out, but I think Barron County it's maybe a little more of a red county. I'm not really sure, or I just think so. But Nick Milroy, of course, he's in the. I mean, the 73rd district is a very blue district, right?
hmm hmm
And has a first-time person running against him, and I don't know how it's going to go. Beth is running against James Bolin, who I think was the one who ran against you 2 years ago for Senate.
Right, right.
But you could be looking at possibly three Democrats in your district. If you had three
Right.
Democrats in your Senate district as assembly persons, how does that change anything for Northwest Wisconsin? Does that help? Does it hurt? Are you able to do more of what you want to do when you have three assembly persons that are also
Well,
Democrats?
the first of all, it if it would change the number, the construct of the number of Democrats in the assembly. So ultimately, eventually, we could go to where the majority would switch from Republican to Democrat. That's probably not going to happen this time, but we are going to we're going to get closer to that. It is, and the same thing in the Senate right now. The Senate is going to get very close to taking the majority. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but we're going to get much closer in both ways. What people will see in terms of differences is how much emphasis is going to be placed on those issues that the Democrats value highly, again, which is things that make people's lives, their lives better, healthcare, education, the quality of life in communities. And when people's lives are better, when they're not, they don't have to worry as much about the bottom line, they spend more, they move, they buy houses, they're engaged, and then the economy does better. So I think it's sort of the perspective of where do you place the focus of our state's efforts in investing. And I believe that we are at a time where we need to put some investments back in our infrastructure that it's been neglected for a long time, so that our district does not become a place where businesses won't want to move, where businesses choose to close and go to another area, perhaps where the internet is better, where the roads are better. I want people to stay and thrive, and I think that's what you will see if there are more Democrats in the assembly.
I know when I'm looking at the races around the area, some of them I kind of feel like I kind of know who's going to probably win, and not like I have inside info, just whatever. A lot of things. I know I'm paying a lot of attention to the 10th Senate District with Representative Staff Schultz, is a Republican candidate with Senator
Patty
Shockner.
Shockner.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, now obviously she beat Adam Jarcone. Anytime I can bring that up on the show, it just makes me smile. Uh, that if that was a special election, though, right? I mean, so this was like
Yes, it
nobody else is
was.
on the
Yeah.
ballot. Uh, so now, I mean, I have no idea, and I've asked a few people that I think are like in the know, right? The political gurus, and they're like, "Yeah, no idea."
Well,
Obviously, you're
the
going to be
thing.
supporting Patty. I mean, Democrat,
Oh
and
yeah.
I know Patty. She's great. She's super nice. But I mean, I also know Robin nice. That's why I just can't vote for people because I
Right.
want to vote for everybody. But I really don't know, man. That's like a toss up for me. I can't pin down what's going to happen between those two. I have no idea.
Well, the district itself, if you were to sort of take a show of hands, it's a Republican district. It's red.
Right.
And when Patty won in the special, that was a big surprise. It was a shock, and she won by a lot.
Mm.
And so I think that the Republicans really, really took note, and I know that they've been focusing on that race for quite a while, as Democrats have, because of course we want to keep that seat.
Hmm.
Now, Patty, of course, is doing a fabulous job in the Senate. She just matches the district so well. She's the they used to be called coroners, but now they're medical
Medical
examiners.
examiner.
That's
Right.
what they are. So she's the medical examiner. So she sees and observes the community from a very different perspective. And she's also a mom and a grandmom and a bear hunter, and I mean she's just kind of the perfect person.
Mm.
Her values are great. She's extremely hardworking. She's not a prima donna. She's just a great person, and I have very high hopes. The demographics of the district are Republican, so it's a matter of who's going to be more motivated to go out and vote. Are the Democrats going to go out in big numbers with the amount of people voting early? That usually trends more to Democrats. We may see that we've been able to influence turnout in a way that will get her to a win. But you're right; people are saying this is going to be tight.
Yeah, and that's the one that I'm having a difficult time trying to pinpoint. I mean, and again, this is based on nothing other than just my guess. And I've figured it
Mhm,
out, and I'm about 50-50 when I,
mhm,
figure who's going to win. I mean, you could literally flip a coin and probably have the same odds that I do in getting
mhm,
people right.
mhm.
Um, I
Well, there's a really interesting thing about the district that, when you're running campaigns, the one of the things you look for right away is what media market are you in? And not only is she in two media markets, one of them is the most expensive media market in the state, which is Minneapolis, St. Paul. And that media market's
mm,
crazy expensive. And then so she would have to split it half in Minneapolis and half in Duluth,
yeah,
which is it's unaffordable. Duluth you can afford, but candidates can't afford to invest that kind of money in the Minneapolis media
mm,
market. And so it's very hard. Other candidates really don't have much of a market at all. In my district, when I run for election, I just do Duluth and hope for the best, because you don't really know. I mean, some people get it from Rhinelander, and it's all over. But it is a big problem for that district.
so so someone, oh man, that noise. Yep. So someone just commented here, and I'll put that up. A lot of weird background noise. Yep. So that is kind of again, we're kind of testing through this right now. We think we know what it is, but it's too late to kind of fix it right now. So just going to kind of bear with us. It sounds like that background noise comes as soon as I start talking. After you're finished, that just a couple of
So it's
seconds, then
your
we get it, and
yes,
then we're kind of fine. I think so. I apologize for
yeah.
that.
Okay.
Again, thanks for everyone for just being patient as we kind of work through some new systems that we have. But let's talk about the presidential race. That's another one that I have no idea. I saw that thing yesterday. What the frick? 17 points Biden was up by. I'm like, what? Did they pull 800 people in Milwaukee or something? I don't know. That one was bizarre to me. What did you think when you saw 17-point lead for
Well,
Biden?
I think we all kind of peek at the polls, and we don't really know if we should or shouldn't believe them because of what happened 4 years ago. But I believe in the same day the Marquette poll came out, and it was much tighter. I think it was that Biden was up by 3 or 4. So, I mean, that's crazy. One's the teens, and the other one has it just a matter of 3 or 4. So I think what that's telling me is that even the pollsters don't know exactly how to gauge
Yeah.
this because the way people vote this time around as an influence on the outcome is greater than it's ever been. So we know there are absentee ballots out there. How many are never going to get turned in? How many won't be counted? But there are a lot that are in and ready to be counted. And then what's going to happen on election day? So I think that it is a lot has to do with voter turnout and the actual way the vote is counted. And if, in fact, we have a high turnout. All of the ballots are received in time to be included. I think that would favor Democrats. If it was less, then it usually favors Republicans. Why that is, I don't know, but that's what the smarter people tell me.
The smarter people. I love it. Hey, I'm actually, man, that beginning part. Okay, we're past it. So the what I'm really looking forward to not is just the election results, obviously, because that's going to be huge, and
Mhm.
then also it could be a little while right? I don't think it's going to be. I mean, for some races, maybe. I don't know. I don't think anybody really kind of knows what's going to happen. It's probably not going to be announcements at 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock.
Mhm.
I mean, unless it's just landslides or something, and it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter the ballots. And it's I'm really interested, and maybe you guys have had some discussions in this in your caucus stuff or just amongst yourselves as Democrats. Have you had the discussion about what does this look like in, and I'm not talking about the presidential race, I mean elections in Wisconsin, when
Mhm.
there's a close race, 51-49, uh, and with the absentee ballots and all that comes with that, is there going to, I mean, I don't know. I kind of just look at lawsuits. I look at a lot of people are going to be challenging whether they did lose. I mean, more than normal. Is there a plan in place, or is there a discussion being had with you and your peers on
Well,
what does this look like and what will we do?
I believe that number one, I and my colleagues believe in the clerks. We believe that the people that are in charge of the local elections do a very good job. They have been doing it for years. They have been over the years. Oh, that's a truck
What?
going by. Over the years, they have had to handle ballot changes. They've had to handle all kinds of things. And they do a wonderful job. So, number one, I believe that they can do it. The second is, do people believe that they can? And I do. So it's a matter of what is the evidence that we have that the clerks have an accurate count and that nothing was done inappropriately. I think it's a matter of attitude. If people are going to, if some groups are, some may already know, we're going to sue on this issue. Go ahead, waste taxpayer money. If there's something truly, if there's evidence that something truly was wrong, go ahead. But I believe that we have in place a very good election system, and it can handle this.
Mm.
Now, we do have mandatory recounts if they're within a certain number of points. Um, that's what happened in Jen Schilling's special election 2 years ago when she ran, when Dan Kapanke ran against her, and she ended up winning by 41 points. So that was 6 years ago. So it was a pretty interesting situation, and but she won. She did it. So it's all a matter of what the outcome is. Did it go your way, the way you wanted it to? And is there really a reason, a legitimate reason for filing a complaint or taking somebody to court? Because I believe we're going to have a good outcome in terms of the legitimate election and results that people can have faith in.
Hey, we have another question. Oof, another question here. Oh, I want to see if my air horn button works. Just hold on a second. Yes, it does. Oh, wait, I'm
I'm
not going to do
so
that again because I'm getting more reverb.
oh,
All right, here's the question from Tim something. Ashland and Bayfield counties have always been historically blue, yet these counties are the poorest in the state. What are you doing to change that trend?
well, blue and poor is just that people are poor. If they wouldn't be, they'd still be poor if they voted red. There's a lot of things up there that do not lead to great economic success. Um, and actually, Ashland and Bayfield County are not as poor as, say, Iron, Rusk, um, Sawyer. There are other counties that are poor. Um, uh, I think that particularly Ashland County and Bayfield, they're both rising in uh, average wages, but rural areas are poorer than most areas, particularly the ones that are so far from the capital. And one of the main reasons for that is that we're getting old. We are in the state some of the oldest counties in terms of average age. And when people age, their income declines as they get older until suddenly they're dependent on Social Security, and then that brings down the average wage. If you're in your 40s or 50s, you're at the peak of your earning, and we have many people who are elderly and retired, and that really brings the average income down. But I think that we need to have plans throughout the state that are going to lift people up, and make it a place where we have more families, more people that can actively participate in the workforce, and have businesses that have faith in the area, that they're willing to make the investments and say, we're going to move our business there. We like the roads, we like the broadband, we like the police and fire protection that we have, and they'll invest in it. But if we continue to have those things decline, more and more people either move away or choose not to come, and then we're left with the poorest families and the oldest residents.
Got it. All right. So I think I figured out a quick workaround, by the way, for any of the background. So I just muted you because obviously the reverb that we're getting is when I talk, your speakers are picking it up and then sending it back through. So yeah, like right now you're muted, so we can hear you. Hey, I should just done that the whole show. It'd just be the Ben Dryden show. That's it. I'm just kidding. See, you can't even. Hold on, I got to turn back on. Go ahead.
You are so smart.
It took me 26 minutes and 50 seconds to figure that out, but
We'll look at the end of it. I figured it out.
So hold on. We have a
Yay,
question.
Ben.
Well, we have another question. All right, that one's long. Hold on a second.
Okay. You're, turn me on. Turn me on.
You're
Turn me on.
you're on. You're on.
You are like a little kid. You're like a little kid.
Oh man, I'm gonna have so much fun with this. Oh, this is great. All right, so I'm gonna put this question up. And last summer, a number of us in Washburn County passed around a petition regarding getting local news instead of all the TV channels offer Minnesota news. The signed petitions were sent to you, and you. Oh shoot. Keep your question shorter. And you didn't think important enough to follow through with all this. Yeah, I don't know what any of this is about. So what's going on?
We did follow up. We sent him to Washington. It's an FCC regulation. They divide area markets into sections, and they say, this is the market. It's about advertising. This is the market. The advertisers want to know exactly what households these are going to get, and they divvy up the population. And if you are defined in the Duluth media market, that's where you get your TV, unless you can pull it from Rhinelander or somewhere. But your dedicated media market, I get all Duluth advertising, all the time. If you are in let's see, there are the places that are difficult are like Minocqua, they get Rhinelander, but it is not a decision the state is allowed to make. So on the state level, we can't change that. It's the federal communications, because it does cross state boundaries. So Hudson is in the Minneapolis-St. Paul media market. That's just the way it is, and nobody in the state can change that, but the feds can. What we have been trying to get is some way to have some sort of opt-in, opt-out. I mean, with the switch, you can have a different set of advertising on your television if the FCC allowed it. So, or you could get channels that would play this football game and not that football game, and the blackouts. So it's extremely frustrating. I share your frustration because I live it, and there's nothing we can do. I'll give you an example. How much time do I have?
Much as you want.
Okay. One of the worst examples of this was when there was a tornado around Springstead, which is over in the northeast portion of the district. It's around Hurley. It's around. It's between her. It's Mercer, between Mercer and say Park Falls. And a stinking tornado is going right down. But did the television sets, did the cable TV sets have that warning about a tornado? Heck no. They were watching Jeopardy and nothing came on because that particular media market um, didn't care about a tornado going down in Springstead. So they were scared to death. And nothing we could do. I mean, I wanted at least on the federal level to have a law that warnings like that, or Amber Alerts or those sorts of things, are going to go in a much, much wider area so that everybody will know. But no, that's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. We depend on televisions and whatnot for emergency notifications and for things that are going on in our communities, particularly the news. And the football drives me nuts. But
What are you going to do? All right, so we have another. Another question. Oh, yeah, I don't think I'm going to stop using that now. So we'll have time. Yeah, we're already 30 minutes. So let's one more question here. With the loss of ambulance services in Marengo, I don't even know where that is. Is there any funding from the state of Wisconsin? First of all, where is that? And then, yeah, answer that question.
Marengo, right now, Marengo is just a little bit south of Ashland. It's about 25, well, probably about 20 miles south of Ashland. And I thought Marengo still, because it was the four towns there was an ambulance service that had been providing ambulance for a number of towns. And they basically said, we don't have enough people. We literally don't have enough people. So it is, number one, it is the lack of employees, the lack of people who have the training, who are going to do the work, because Gold Cross is saying that we've got the equipment, we just don't have the staff to contract with this town. And we can manage this group of towns. I believe they're based in Cable or Glidden. West Ashland, Bayfield County, but we've talked with them and we're doing everything we can. I believe they have another month, but it's Gold Cross saying, we don't have enough employees. We just literally cannot staff it. And at the same time, some of the other communities that have what we call career fire departments, Superior and Ashland, they have career fire departments where you actually have their it's their career, it's their job, their full-time job, and they have paramedics and ambulance service, but even they can't cover some of these really rural areas. So is there state funding? Not yet, but we can try to figure this out and find a way to help. The problem is, even if we had funding, how do we get the first responders, the EMS, to take those jobs? Because a lot of them are they're what's called paid on call, so they have to be available, or they're staffed and that's what they do. The paramedics are that way. And it is hard because the Ashland Fire Department says we'll do it for this amount of money, but they can't, towns can't afford it. And so what do you do? Do you raise what you pay them? But if you don't have the money, how are you going to do that? And so in some ways, it's both a money problem and a personnel problem. But if there's no one out there to hire, that's the number one thing. We've got to get people incentivized to do these jobs, because the last thing we want is for someone to call 911 for an ambulance and be told, well, we can dispatch one out in about an hour. No, I mean, you need that. It's life and death. So we are working on it. The interesting thing is that by law in the state of Wisconsin, the towns are responsible for public health and safety. That's their number one reason for existing, is public health and safety. So they keep the roads, they provide fire, and they have an ambulance. And there are towns who cannot do what they are organized as a government to do. So it's a rough situation. Again, it's what happens when you lose population, when your numbers go down.
Well, I think that's just another one of those examples of the. I know a lot of people talk about the north of 8, or there's that line that people talk about, and the issues that we have are different than Madison. I think this is just another one, and we talked about the TV thing a little bit earlier, or whatever that the news thing, and that's driven by a lot of factors. We look at small towns and potentially this ambulance service that's going. I mean, these are the things that, man, they're not facing, and not just in Madison, Milwaukee. I mean, most areas, but it's not their fault. It's just that's one of those things that makes us unique, certainly, but also creates unique situations and challenges. And then how do we, or well, in this case, you as a politician, how do you make sure everyone in Madison, your constituents, understand? Like, with here's all the examples. Here's another one of this is just different in Northwest Wisconsin, juxtaposed to Southeastern, Southwestern, or even to a certain degree, Northeastern Wisconsin.
Well, and when you say, is there any state money to help? Well, state money is tax money. That's where money comes. So is there any taxing revenue that could be directed there? Now, everybody raise your hand if you're willing to pay for ambulance service in 4 towns in Ashland off of your taxes. Most people are going to say, I'm paying for ambulance in my town. But that's the way we do it in our state. We say there should be a minimum amount of public services throughout the state. Somebody's going to plow the state highways, and the counties. They're going to plow those roads. And it isn't a matter of we got to figure it out. That's why we have shared revenue. So for those communities that don't have the tax base but still need to provide ambulance, I think we need to adjust shared revenue. And shared revenue means you're distributing the pot in a different way. And there are some people who will categorically refuse to do that. They say,
Why?
I will not share my tax dollars down here in Dodge County with Bayfield County. I'm not going to do it. And so it's a matter, well, what do we do? How do we distribute shared revenue? I mean, Southern Ashland County can't do it on their own. They just can't. And we have to have a state where people realize that we can't afford to have portions of the state without ambulance service. As a state, we can't afford it. People aren't going to come here and go duck hunting. They're not going to go deer hunting. They're not going to get on a snowmobile. If they know, if I, get in an accident, no one's going to come and get me. We can't do that. So there is an argument for figuring out how to redistribute the shared revenue, but people have to agree that that is what we need to do with our revenue.
Miss Janet, thanks so much for being on today.
Does that mean I'm
already
going?
way. What's that?
That means I'm going. Bye. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there anything that? 'Cause obviously we had literally nothing written down, and I don't think you did either. It was just kind of a chat. First of all, we should start doing this more often. Like, no kidding. Like, I don't know, every month come on and just talk about what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you did want to bring up or touch on a little bit more, or say, or anything else?
Just vote. Just vote.
Yeah.
Please vote. Please vote, because it really matters, and we need people to vote, because then they feel that sense of participation. And no vote, no whining. No vote, no whining.
I think that's good. You should that'd be your campaign slogan in 2 years from now. Thank you, Senator, so much for jumping on. And again, let's start doing this a little bit more often. I love talking to you.
Absolutely. I'm always ready. Thanks a lot, Ben. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. You've been watching DrydenWire Live. I don't know where my buttons are. Special thank you to my guest today, No, how about this one? Is that better? Uh, Wisconsin 25th District Senator Janet Bewley, and thank all of you, of course, for watching. Thanks for bearing with us with some audio issues thing. I'll see you right back here tomorrow morning when I'll be chatting with 10th Senate District candidate Representative Rob Staffschulte right here at 8:30. Until then, stay safe and keep your social distance. Thanks, Janet.
Thanks.